What's up, guys? Today we're going to check out 2024's The Crow on 4K UHD. I'm not here to talk about how good or bad the movie is. I'm just going to share some thoughts on the audio and video quality. Now let's go over a few tech specs. After many Google searches, I could not find how this movie was shot. So if I had to guess, I would say that it was shot digitally. The movie is rated R, runtime is 111 minutes, aspect ratio is 239:1, and the audio is in Dolby Atmos. Before we take a look at the audio and see how active this mix is, if you don't know what the Dolby Atmos viewer is, you can find a link down below in this video's description that tells you all about it, what it does, and where to get it. You can also find a list of all the gear that I use for these 4K reviews down there as well. Jumping on over to the Atmos viewer, I noticed that most of this movie plays out as a 7.1.2 mix for about 80% of the time. There's a scene that takes place in a dance club at 34 minutes in where you'd think there would be surround usage up top, but most of the action stays right in the top middle, and being in the club, it is heavy on the music. Of course, if you've got 4 top channels, then you'd get more coverage in this specific scene above your head. Now, there are a handful of really cool dynamic sounding effects that do sound really good. At 45:13, you've got rain that's falling from above your head and this voice that's whispering and floating throughout your entire room. At 47:04, there's more voices coming through the surround channels with crows flying really far off in the background in the top channels. And with these scenes that take place in the in-between world, I found these scenes to have the most spacious soundstage. There's some solid movement with cars speeding back and forth throughout the lower channels at 55:50 with the musical score playing through the overheads. And as far as bass response, I thought it was kind of lacking for the most part. The gunshots didn't carry too much weight and the action scenes felt, well, kind of flat. So while it can have really good surround activity, the bass response doesn't do that much for reinforcement down low. And thank you to Kaleidoscape for supplying me with this copy of The Crow to bring you, the home theater movie loving community, this 4K review. Now, if you do want to get your movies weeks and sometimes months before they come out on 4K Blu-ray, consider getting yourself a Kaleidoscape at our channel partner, Dream Media. Links can be found down below in this video's description. As for picture quality, I wouldn't say this is digitally 4K crispy, but it is really, really close. There's a very slight softness to the image that takes away the digitally hard edge. It's still extremely clean with a ton of finely rendered details in every shot. So when you see all those wounds healing from gunshots or knife stabs, it can look really graphic. If you want to go ahead and count pores and eyelashes, then the detail, again, is so good you can do that as well. As for the HDR, as you would expect, being a Crow movie, this will not have a rainbow of bright, vivid colors. It's mostly blacks, whites, and grays with the occasional splash of red. Now, while the image is comprised of mostly darker colors and darker tones, the overall picture did remain fairly bright as to not crush a ton of detail in the shadows. The brighter parts of the image had plenty of highlight detail, but also not eye-searingly bright either. And the specular highlights did have plenty of pop that created a nice contrast to the darker colors. Overall, this is a great looking 4K transfer, which I would give a 9.2 for video. Audio-wise, this was a decent mix. There's good surround activity, which can at times create a very excellent immersive bubble of surround. The bass response, again, was lacking, but the dialogue always remained easy to hear. I'm gonna go with an 8.1 for audio. Now, this review was based on the Kaleidoscape version, which comes in at 63.7 gigs in Dolby Vision and 58.9 gigs for the HDR10 version, which is the version that I watched. If you're holding out on picking up the 4K Blu-ray, then this should look exactly the same, if not a little bit better, and the audio should sound exactly the same as well. Now, pretending that you have not seen the Brandon Lee version of The Crow, what did you guys think of this version of The Crow? Leave a comment down below and let me know. Now, if you do want to pick up this movie, I will leave some links for it down below in this video's description. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you want, you can follow us on social media, and if you want to support the channel and get exclusive content or great discounts on audio and video gear, then stop by our Patreon page. Be sure to like this video if you found it useful and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you again in the next video.